Often, within the first few seconds of seeing something, humans are making a series of complex subconscious judgments about how they feel about the information. In order to achieve your communication goals, you want to create content that grabs attention and convinces to engage further with your organization. Creating a cohesive and intentional look to the content you are sharing can also lend credibility to your cause. If people are comfortable looking at your content and understanding how it all aligns with your brand, it's easier for people to recognize your brand at first glance. Design can capture someone's attention and invite them to be curious about the information you are providing. You don't want your information to get lost in the flood of content that people consume every day. And good design practice can help make your content stand out. Good design leads the viewer's eyes through the graphic in a particular order to create a natural flow. It presents the most important information first, using hierarchy and other design elements that help break up the design and enables the content to become more easily digested. The best design is very intuitive and people can understand the content easily. Graphic design can be an intimidating endeavor for organizations who don't have the capacity to hire staff specifically for creative jobs, but this should not be a barrier to creating good content. There are professional platforms like the Adobe Creative Cloud that require a degree of understanding to effectively utilize, but there are also templatized programs like Canva and Adobe Express that speed up the process significantly and can help non-designers create professional, high-quality content. You can even leverage platforms like Google Slides to work collaboratively, simply by adjusting the page size to the specific dimensions you need. When you are creating graphic design content, there are a few tips to keep in mind. Earlier, we mentioned that consistency across content can help viewers quickly recognize your content. Branding is what drives this consistency. Branding has the power to convey a specific style and feeling and creates cohesion across platforms. Often, organizations will create a style guide to help content creators make decisions about font, color, layout, and even photos or illustrations that fit within the scope of the brand. Hierarchy is another design principle that can quickly elevate the legibility of your content. Your goal with any piece of content should be to quickly be understood and foster further engagement, and hierarchy is a technique that can transform information for the viewer. Hierarchy helps introduce contrast to distinguish elements. Your call to action is a very important element. It's usually the second thing that you want viewers to look at. Once you grab their attention with the header or the image, you want them to know exactly what they need to do next. You want to use real photos where you can. Find photos that capture an emotion you're trying to convey. Less is typically more when it comes to using photos in your design. One powerful image can quickly capture attention, where multiple photos can end up being distracting. Another aspect of design that can elevate your content is accessibility. At least 20% of your audience will benefit from just a few changes. For social graphics, include an image description either in the copy of the post or the text of the image. Utilize alt text to describe the emotion and tone of your photos so that the audience who can't see the photo can take away the same meaning. Video content is another tool you can utilize in your communication strategy to effectively engage your audience and translate your message. Video holds attention and is the leading form of content consumed on social media. It can quickly communicate complicated ideas through visual storytelling and create an emotional connection to your issue. It can also elevate the faces and voices of community members and leaders. However, video content creation often requires a heavier lift on your team. So make sure that video is the best tactic to use in your strategy to meet your goals. When planning for a video, considering the distribution of the video up front can determine the length, style, and degree of engagement. If your audience is predominantly on Instagram, an Instagram reel or story is effective, but that video looks very different from a video you can share directly to your captive audience at an event. The other important thing to consider before creating your video is the call to action. If you're making an emotional appeal at the end of your video, everything should ladder up to that through the narration, the visuals, the facts, and the music. There are many types of videos, but the most common ones that organizations and nonprofits utilize are the following. Informational video or explainer video. Usually this is about an issue or a piece of legislation or any sort of public education campaign where you need to explain something fairly complicated and in a very succinct way. The next type of video is advertising or campaign videos. They are intended to fit into a programmatic ad campaign online. These are typically very quick, 15 or 30 seconds, and working within the strict confines of ad space. The next is a case for support video, which can accompany other types of collateral when you are making an appeal for support. Finally, videos can be used for profiles or showcasing interviews. This is a great way to elevate members of your community or leaders, giving them a personal moment to share about their story, their passion, or their plan of action. Video is a unique content form because it convenes so many creative aspects. It's important to think of the following as tools in your toolbox and not necessarily things you have to incorporate into your video. Narration is how the audience is being steered through a video. This could be voiceover or text on screen. It could be sound bites from interviews. Tone is another important aspect of video, and determining the tone can help determine the style of music or images that appear on screen. Are you being serious or playful? Do you want your audience to walk away feeling inspired? Imagery or B-roll are key components of video that can help elevate your storytelling. What the audience sees on screen can provide additional context or drive home an emotional impact you are trying to convey. Motion is always best to illustrate your points. The eye follows motion, but use what's at your disposal if you don't have the budget to capture original footage. Incorporating text or graphics onto the screen can drive home or emphasize your message. You want to be explicit and clear with your graphics. Music is a powerful tool in video. It can help create a tone or atmosphere and can bridge other elements of video, like an interview and an image. The length of your video can be determined by many factors. If you're creating an ad, the specification from the advertiser might dictate the length, whereas if you're creating a case for support video, the length might be determined by how much information you need to cover. It's always important to consider that you want to maintain your audience's attention in video, and that shorter is better. Like with any other tactic, video requires thoughtful planning and consideration. Make sure that video fits within the scope of your plan and budget, and that you can effectively leverage the video content with your audience. Plan in advance and align your video with your communication goals. In the digital age we're in, creating creative content is a necessary part of any communication strategy. By following basic design principles and planning, you can create content that is cohesive, intentional, and will capture the attention of your audience.